Thank you, Chair Wellman, and Ranking Member Hawkins, and fellow members of the committee. Students in foster care are some of our most at-risk students. They face higher risk of poverty, homelessness, incarceration, early parenthood, and substance abuse when they leave the foster care system. I know this because I experienced foster care and fell victim to many of those statistics. In Washington, only 50% of students in foster care graduate from high school. Those statistics are real, and I personally did not fall victim to most of these statistics because of a few points of contact that were critical in my childhood. My points of contact provided necessary attention to my needs. For example, they helped me to get track shoes when I started running track. They made sure that I transferred to a transitional living program as I was thinking about getting my own apartment and living on my own. I stayed in foster care while I started college, and I needed those necessary skills and programs, and points of contact in my life ensured that I was able to have the coordination of my needs met. And they also looked out for things like transportation. I fell victim to early parenthood, which has been a blessing in my life, but it was my points of contact who made sure I had transportation to drop my daughter off at her childcare facility, and that I could get to school and then eventually to my college courses. So I know I was successful because of these points of contacts. Youth are only successful if they have caring adults paying attention and helping them meet their goals. I want to see us do better for students who are relying on us so that they can succeed in school and in life. This bill would require that schools designate on-site foster care points of contact who can provide a more direct connection for our students. Current law requires a district liaison, but this bill goes further and ensures that there is someone on site where foster students are every single day. These points of contact will be responsible for coordinating services and resources for students in foster care at that school. I recognize the incredible work that school staff and educators already do to address students' need, and this bill does not intend to overburden them, but rather to allow implementation as effectively as possible to better serve our students. I look forward to continuing this conversation with school districts and state agencies on how to do just that. Thank you for your time, and I am happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Any questions? I think it is so compelling to have first-person testimony. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really do appreciate that. And Senator Wilson, do you want to call the first panel? We will set it the timer for 90 seconds.
I think there is a question too from Senator Dozier.
I'm so sorry. I'm not seeing. Please wave. So, okay. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Nobles, that's a very compelling story. Thank you very much for sharing it. Do we have then a failure in the foster parent system where we aren't getting that type of help? I'm curious.
Yeah, I think I heard your question. I think the word you used might have been failure.
Yeah, or problems with it, I guess. I don't understand it super well, but I know I could learn a lot from you, so.
Yeah, well, what I know is two things. I wouldn't say a failure. I think being a parent in general, I think about myself and, you know, I have my own biological children, and I still need points of contact at the school to help me with my own children. And so when we enlist community members to help us to foster children in our community, we should support them as well. It's already difficult to be a parent. And I know with my foster parents, they were awesome parents, but we needed other people to pay attention to my needs. So more of helping and building a village and making sure at our school sites where our children are spending a good portion of their day, we have additional support there. But I think our foster parents and parents in general do as well as they can. We just want to build in extra support.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, because the foster parents I knew here, we're a small community, but they were really good with their kids. So thank you very much. Very, very good story. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I don't see anybody else waving to me. So Senator Wilson, would you call the first group?
Thank you so much, Chair Wellman. I will say there are 15 signed in, not wanting to testify, all in support. And I will call the first panel of 4. Peggy Carlson from the Office of Superintendent of Public Instruction, Katara Jordan from Building Changes, Jarrell Sanders, and Alexia Jesse from Seattle Public Schools.
So thank you so much. And we'll wait for just a minute while those people come before us. And thank you, Peggy, I see you. Good morning. Please begin your good morning. Please begin your testimony.
Good morning, Chair Wellman and members of the committee. My name is Peggy Carlson, and I'm here on behalf of OSPI. I want to thank you for hearing this agency request legislation, and a special thank you to Vice Chair Nobles for sponsoring. Current law requires a district-level foster care liaison. However, those liaisons often manage other programs, and they usually work out of a district office, so they may not even see students in person. This bill would require districts to designate a foster care point of contact in each school. It does not require districts to hire new staff, only to designate someone in the building who will know which students are in foster care and what rights those students have under state and federal law. We believe the framework created by this bill will dramatically increase support for students academically, socially, and emotionally. I want to thank you again for hearing it, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are any questions for Peggy? I don't see any. Okay, speak up if I miss you. And I'm looking. One of the things while we're waiting, we have Treehouse, which is a wonderful organization in Seattle that focuses on foster children, and they have just well, I'm not going to jump for a second. And they have this store that was actually Nordstrom designed the store. So it is a great, it's a very nice department store kind of for foster kids. Nothing costs anything. It is free material goods, but they're all brand new. And it's one place where foster families can go, or families that foster children can go and pick out some things. So, and it's a lovely thing. So,
Senator Wellman, I see that Jarrell and Alicia have come up on board. So.
Yes, I see them too. So I see Jarrell will call on you first. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair. Yes, so hi, my name is Jarrell Sanders. I am a social worker with DCYF, doing long-term case management. And let me also be clear, I am not here on behalf of DCYF. I'm only here to speak on my experience as a social worker. But you just brought up a great point, Treehouse. We outsource all of our educational advocacy to Treehouse, and they are amazing advocates, you know, when they have the capacity to take over that kind of support. And I just wanted to note my support for this bill because, you know, I think whenever there are more direct points of contact, whenever I'm able to show up to a school when I have a kid on my caseload that is struggling, you know, a direct point of contact in a building is great, especially if they have hands-on experience with them. And, you know, that can be their counselor most of the time, or someone from the actual administration of the building. And I think this bill has a great opportunity to shine some light on that and make that a little bit better and more standard. And so, yeah, I just wanted to speak a little bit to that and give my support for the bill.
Thank you for coming and doing that. And Katara, welcome. Good morning. I hope I've pronounced your name correctly.
You did. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. My name is Katara Jordan, and I am a Senior Manager of Policy and Advocacy at Building Changes. We are a statewide nonprofit that advances equitable responses to homelessness, focusing on children, youth, and families. I'm here to testify in support of SB 5184. In 2016, the legislature established the Homeless Student Stability Program that required every district to identify building-level points of contact for students experiencing homelessness. The legislature recognized that homeless liaisons had limited capacity to identify and support students and often could not dedicate more than 2 to 5 hours per week to fulfill their duties required under federal law. That said, more than half of the staff identified as homeless district liaisons also serve as district foster care liaisons, further limiting the capacity to meet the needs of both student populations. Students in foster care face many of the same challenges associated with school instability as students experiencing homelessness. Because of this, building level points of contact are just as essential for students in foster care. With thoughtful implementation, building level points of contact provide additional support to district liaisons by identifying students and families in need of services within their schools, help establish and maintain connections with community providers, social workers, and caregivers, and assist districts in complying with their responsibilities under federal and state law. Given our state's commitment to achieving education parity for both students in foster care and those experiencing homelessness, I ask that you vote yes on SB 5184. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you so much. Alicia, would you like to go now?
Sure.
Thank you.
Everyone. Greetings, Madam Chair and members of the committee. Good morning. My name is Alicia Jesse. I'm a wife, mother of 4 children, and I'm a social worker that advocates for children. And I also work for Seattle Public Schools, serving in the role as foster care liaison for our school district. And in addition to that role, I'm also the Family Support Program Manager, supervising a staff of 22. It's an honor to speak on behalf of supporting Senate Bill 5184 to include building points of contacts at all schools in our state. Seattle Public Schools is one of the largest school districts in our state, approximately 53,000 students with 104 school sites. For the past year, I've worked in collaboration with our district staff who serve as building points of contact, supporting our students who reside in foster care. The passing of Senate Bill 5184 is imperative because building points of contact are critical and help assist with foster care liaison, myself, with identifying individual student needs at the building level. And as the district foster care liaison working from central office, it is challenging with supporting students in foster care. If I didn't have building points of contact, there would be so many students that could easily fall through the cracks and not receive the education supports that are mandated by law to ensure school stability, on-time high school graduation, and support with post-secondary plans. Thank you for this opportunity to testify this week.
Thank you so much. And are there any questions for this panel? I'm not seeing anybody waving at me, so we're going to move on. Thank you so much for coming. And Senator Wilson, would you please, I think Senator Noble seems to know some of these people. That's great. Senator Wilson, would you call the next group, please?
It's always fun to see folks out from the community testifying. So I think that that's always brings smiles and waves. So our second panel that we will hear from today, Don Rains from Treehouse, and we heard a little bit about Treehouse, Samuel Martin from the Mockingbird Society, and Allison Kritzinger from the Department of Children, Youth, and Families.
Excellent. And as soon as someone comes before us, I see Dawn has arrived. Dawn, would you turn on your video? Good to see you.
Good morning. Thank you for all the kind words about Treehouse. For the record, my name is Dawn Rains, Chief Policy and Strategy Officer for Treehouse, Washington's leading organization focused on educational equity for children and youth in foster care. Due to frequent placement and school changes, trauma, and loss, our students in foster care experience the worst educational outcomes of any student group in our state, whether it be attendance, grades, test scores, or graduation rates. In the wake of COVID-19, these inequities have only deepened. A recent Treehouse survey showed high rates of disengagement from school, need for academic supports to address learning loss, and foster parents and relative caregivers in need of more help to manage at-home schooling. In addition, 65% of the students we serve are Black, Indigenous, and other students of color. They are the youth furthest from educational justice. Every district is already required under federal law to have a district-wide foster care liaison, as you have heard. The addition of these liaisons in recent years has greatly improved our ability to partner with districts to meet student needs. We now have an official way to provide information, training, and technical assistance to districts, and there is someone whose job it is to receive that information and deploy it. This bill would add a point of contact in every school building, ensuring that down to the individual student level, there is someone responsible for coordinating services and supports and communicating with OSPI, with DCYF, and Treehouse to ensure student needs are being addressed in a comprehensive and coordinated way. When Treehouse works with schools, we try to identify an adult who really cares about kids, who is going to be that champion in that building. This bill requires principals to proactively identify that person to ensure they have the training and information they need to support the very specific needs of children, youth, and foster care every day. Targeted universal supports is exactly what is needed to improve educational outcomes. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know that you do make an incredible difference. So we all thank Treehouse for what they do.